evidence do you have, as opposed to allegations, to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you successfully bullied Speaker McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge?
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. It's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. And we also have the vice president at the time on record saying that the prosecutor was fired. Well, son of a bitch, the prosecutor was fired, right? Because the prosecutor was going after the company that his son was working on. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blunt, I'll turn it over to you.
The American people can't see that. They think it's political revenge.
It's because you don't report on it.
But there's ample predication at this point in time based on that very unusual set of circumstances, which is for no apparent payment for expertise or services rendered. Biden family members writ large received over $20 million.
That we know of.
It is very simple for someone just to insist there's an absence of evidence. But if you can look in the face of that and contend that, that's, anyone has a right to their opinion. What they can't do is change the facts.
And I invite you to go to the website clyde.house.gov/Biden crime family, and you will see all the evidence from the Oversight Committee. You will see all the evidence. And if you're willing to read it, I think you'll be convinced.
What evidence do you have? Hearing that coming from the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media when they have been presented all the evidence but have refused for the last 3+ years to report on any of it is on one hand laughable, and on the other hand it just shows you we don't get news in this country. We get crafted propaganda. And welcome to the impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden. Hey, it's yours truly, Pastor Marty. So glad to have you on the afternoon drive, where you will get to hear my rants, my ravings, and of course, my undeniably flawless reasonings. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're a subscriber to the channel. If you are, smack the bell, click the word all to get notification of all of my rant. Well, you'll allegedly get notification. You might want to check your subscription status. Every once in a while, people do tell me, Pastor Marty, I didn't unsubscribe to you. YouTube did it for me. Yeah, I know. I know. So check your subscription status. Once you're subscribed, please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out. I need your help because we certainly know YouTube isn't going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching the afternoon drive. So after it was trending all day, hashtag no evidence, listening to these people scream about this is awful, this is terrible, this is upending the Constitution, yada yada, blah blah blah. They put Donald Trump through 2 sham impeachments. Not a shred of evidence. Just like these fraudulent indictments they're hitting him with. And now that we have a mountain of evidence regarding Hunter and his connection to Daddy Joe, this idea that there's no evidence. Give me a break. Anyone with a scintilla of honesty knows that Hunter was trading on Daddy's name. Daddy got a cut, which means Daddy, once in a while, had to do something to keep these entities pouring out the money. They're not just going to give him the money because his last name is Biden. They're giving him the money because his last name is Biden, and he was in a position where he could make things happen. That's treason. That is a high crime. That is an impeachable and should be a prisonable offense. and listening to some of the Democrats and the lying legacy, corporate, corrupt mainstream media try to cover up for this is just absolutely, these people have no moral compass whatsoever.
There is zero evidence of any malfeasance on the part of President Joe Biden.
There's been no evidence, and so they're using this word inquiry.
There is no direct evidence. They would be going forward with an impeachment inquiry based on lies.
The craziest people on the back benches in the House of Representatives are demanding that Kevin McCarthy call for an impeachment. This is the White House's dream.
The impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better, not go off on these chases and witch hunt.
Morning schmuck and Mika Brzezinski, honestly, if Chuck E. Cheese Schumer, really? This is the witch hunt? The Russia, which concocted by the Hillary Rotham Clinton campaign? The two sham impeachments of Donald Trump? Trying to say that on January 6th, Donald Trump and his people tried to overthrow the government. Amazing. All of those Second Amendment gun nuts showed up to an insurrection unarmed. You guys pulled back security, opened doors, let them in, gave them guided tours of the Capitol, but it was an insurrection. That's right. The guy with the painted face and the Viking helmet came very close to pulling out the ultimate coup and controlling the country forever. Are you kidding me? Seriously, does anybody actually believe that on January the 6th, President Trump didn't exactly, marshal the armed services and by decree order the hostile takeover of Washington, D.C. and pull off a military coup to stay in the White House? No. He called Georgia and said, find me votes. I think a guy named, what's his name? George W. Bush called Florida, his brother governor, Jeb, find me votes. I beat Al Gore. It's not like these phone calls haven't happened before. And I've said it before, if you're going to dream up this nonsense to indict Donald Trump over, you better indict the Bush crime family. But I digress. What I really wanted to talk about in this impeachment is this. Right now, the Democrats are doing what they do, which is circle the wagons. They're going to attempt to give some cover for Joe Biden. Not because they like Joe Biden, not because they like Hunter, not because they actually believe he's innocent. No, nay. This just doesn't look good for them as for Democrats right now. But I'll tell you this, you know what's going to happen. McCarthy got pushed into this by the conservatives in Congress. He wasn't going to do it. But basically it was, if you want the funding so that the government doesn't shut down, you're going to do this, or we're going to vacate you. And they pushed him. They got it. Now, everybody kind of knows this thing is going to die in the Senate because bitch McConnell is never going to do the right thing. I mean, he is, without a doubt, one of the most reprehensible human beings serving in Washington, D.C. right now. He, as far as vile, he ranks right up there with Biden, with so many of the Democrats. He is just a vile, reprehensible individual. I do love the fact that the Libertarian Party, I mean, it's a stunt, but it's a great stunt. They have filed a court motion that they want to be granted conservatorship of Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden. Conservatorship is something that families have to do from time to time when they have an elder family member who just mentally cannot make decisions for themselves. And so usually one of the oldest adult children takes on that responsibility. And I love that the Libertarian political party has filed to be able to do that for Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden, because it is glaringly apparent that neither one of these men are in full mental capability of making decisions that they're making on behalf of millions of people. This is actually being done for Dianne Feinstein. Oh, it is. Her late husband's will is being contested by the children. That always makes for a strong family reunion. And one of Dianne Feinstein's children has been granted power of attorney in these court proceedings. Wrap your head around that. Dianne Feinstein, who occupies a Senate seat on behalf of the state of California, is there voting and making decisions for 40 million Americans, but doesn't have the mental capacity to make a decision in a courtroom regarding her own family. Then you got John Fetterman wandering around the hallowed halls of Congress in his hoodie and his shorts, looking like he's, just working out for a part in a Rocky movie. And when he was asked about the impeachment of Joe Biden, oh, no, don't do it. Now, of course, he was mocking. I get it. And again, thank you, Pennsylvania. Thank you for giving us a mental defective as a member of Congress. Thank you for that. A guy who can't finish a sentence, a guy who cannot speak with any type of cognitive connection. And I'm sorry, he obviously had a stroke. And as a Christian, as a pastor, as a fellow human being, my compassion is that he would get the rest that he needs and the therapy that he needs and get back to full recovery. But the fact that the people around him, i.e. his wife and him, made the decision that despite all of this, we're going forward with the election, and the Democrats knowing full well that he is not mentally fit to be there, but did everything they could to make that happen. Well, I'm sorry. At this point, then, you deserve the insults. You deserve the put-downs. You deserve being outed for the mental defective that you are. But if the Democrats begin to start siding with the Republicans, and I'm talking about in particular when this gets to the Senate, because we know Mitch McConnell and Witness Protection Romney are, the rhinos are not going to go along with impeachment unless the word comes down that finally the Democrats see this as, all right, this is the way to get rid of old Joe. And I think the only reason they haven't agreed to do this yet is they're still trying to figure out the Kamala Harris issue. They don't want Kamala going into the election cycle as the, quote, incumbent president. At that point, you watch how quickly Gavin Newsom becomes the guy. So I think they're kind of winnowing that all out. It is abundantly apparent Joe Biden will lose and lose big time in this election, and not to Nikki Haley, but to one Donald J. Trump. Now I can see a couple of Republicans even say, well, if we impeach Biden, Trump might have to run against somebody else. But that's not the general consensus. That's not what's really happening. The feckless wimp Republicans who never know how to use power when they have power don't like to be seen as the bad guy. We're picking on an old man. No, he's a criminal. And we're not talking about criminal that, typical graft kind of stuff and put a few bucks in his pocket. He sold influence and changed U.S. policy for payoff. That's treason. I have no proof. All right. The son is received over $20 million in these ventures, the biggest coming from Ukraine, Burisma. And we all know, we've all seen it, that Joe Biden openly bragged about getting rid of the prosecutor that was going after Hunter's company.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
And now all of a sudden, Ukraine is being given billions and billions and hundreds of billions of U.S. tax dollars. And Joe Biden has said, we're not turning this spigot off. You think they're getting a return on investment? And now that they're opening an official inquiry, they will have real subpoena power. Wonder if any of that money going to Ukraine, if any of it get kicked back to the big guy. Bum, ba-dum-bum. This is about to get very interesting. And here's the thing. When Bill Clinton was impeached over Monica Lewinsky, yes, the country was all in because it was sex, and they can kind of understand sex. But they really did feel like, okay, you guys, okay, it's sex, and you're just picking on him to humiliate him. The media narrative was all in on the Trump impeachments. They will not be all in, obviously, on the Biden impeachments. But the alternative media is here. And the majority of the country, that includes Democrats, lots of independents, the majority of the country now looks at what went on between Hunter and Burisma and Ukraine and Daddy, and they get it. There's something not right here. The lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media is not just going to be able to sweep this away. But we have to keep the pressure on the Republicans to make sure that finally justice is served.